Do you ever wish you had the courage to say what you really want to say, to be brave and to be honest? Do you ever wish that you had the courage to stick with that project, to persevere and to maintain some enthusiasm and energy despite how difficult it is? You can when you lead with the virtue of courage. And that's what we're doing today as we continue to explore all of the character traits that help you be a successful and happy leader. Today, we're going to unpack the virtue of courage. So welcome, my dear. I am leadership development coach Kathy Archer and author of best-selling book, Mastering Confidence. Welcome to the training room, bite-sized training for busy women leaders who want to lead with confidence. Because what I know for most of us is we hit this point in our career, me in the last few days, where I'm like, holy crap, where we feel in over our heads and we're wondering if we have what it takes to lead. I give you the inner and outer tools to restore that lost confidence so you, my dear, can move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and your life. Today, as I said, we're going to unpack the virtues around courage. Before I do that, I'm going to pop on over here, grab my phone, share this broadcast into my Confident Women Leaders group. If you're not in that group, the link is up in the notes. While I'm doing this, what I want to know is, have you ever lacked courage? Just put yes or no in the chat box. Have you ever lacked the courage to do what perhaps you want to do? Share to group. Why is it not working? Share to page. Oh, cancel. Share to community. I don't know where I just shared that. Hopefully it's in the right spot. But we're going to keep going. Have you ever struggled with lack of courage? Have you ever wanted to say something or do something and struggled to get it out or to take action? That lack of courage often holds us back. And it's one of the things as leaders that when you can learn to be courageous, to step outside your comfort zone, that you will be able to take some of the actions, say some of the things that you need to say that you've perhaps struggled with in the past. So today we're going to unpack the 4 character traits that are associated with courage, the virtue of courage. They are bravery. Now I have to do this from memory. Bravery, perseverance, honesty, and zest or enthusiasm. So we're going to talk about each of those 4 and look at what are they? What are these character traits? What you do when you are leading with those strong character traits, and perhaps how you can cultivate some of those. Now, over the last few weeks, we've been talking about different character traits, all backed up to the virtues in action, strength. Let me say that again. Virtues and actions, character strengths assessment. If you have not done that, I really encourage you, hop up into the notes, get the guide sheet called Signature Strengths, and do that first. Get your top strengths. Get clear on what your character traits are. And as we go through these week by week and unpack them, you can look at how can you strengthen those even more, lead with those, and perhaps look at some of the ones that maybe you're struggling with and what you can do to bolster those as well. And next week in the Confident Women Leaders group, we are having an online forum where I'm going to be interviewing 6 amazing ladies as we talk about what is character, how do you develop character, why is it important for women to develop their character, and how to do that. So if you are not already registered for the Cultivating Your Character forum, again, the link is up in the notes. Do that. Join the Confident Women Leaders group. We're going to have these discussions every day. So me and another lady are going to come on in live to the group. We're going to talk about character. You get to ask questions, pick their brain, comment, and we're going to talk about, why is this discussion even being discussed right now? Because it is an incredibly important discussion that probably isn't happening enough. So join those as we start to help you uncover what your character strengths are and help you to lead with those character strengths. On with the show for today. So again, today we're unpacking the virtue of courage, and we're going to look at the 4 character traits associated with courage. Courage describes strengths that deal with overcoming fear. Now, if you've ever been in one of my workshops or done any of my training, you've seen the little diagram that I have where we talk about getting outside your comfort zone. And what happens when we try to get outside our comfort zone? We get hit with fear. And it shows up as this physiological response. We get sort of that pounding headache, or we get that tightening across our shoulders or tingle. Our heart starts to race. Our mouth gets dry. We get that pit in our stomach kind of feeling like someone socked us in our stomach. We might shake, or we might get paralyzed with that fear. And often what happens is that fear stops us and we think, oh, I better not say that, better keep my mouth shut, better not take that action, shouldn't do that. And what we do then is we keep ourselves small. We keep ourselves stuck in that comfort zone, and that comfort zone isn't very comfortable. In our comfort zone, we're tolerating things, we're putting up with things, we're settling. And so if we want to get outside of that comfort zone and grow and expand, because what's on the other side of fear? It's our potential. On the other side of fear is where we step bravely and boldly into those new positions, where we stretch outside our comfort zone and say something that maybe we haven't in the past, but that really changes the way our organization or our team moves forward, where we help other people be their best selves because we're brave enough to step outside our comfort zone and say, you know what, here's what I seen you do in that meeting today. And here's the impact that I seen that it had. And maybe you want to try something different. Here's some suggestions of how you might want to do that going forward so that you have the impact you really want on your team. That's what a brave leader does. A brave leader says those things that aren't so comfortable. So these are the strengths that can manifest inwardly or outwardly, and they're composed of, the thoughts, emotions, motivations, and decisions. So let's look at them. So again, we are unpacking the virtue of courage, and there are 4 character traits associated with it. The first one is bravery. And again, go do your VIA signature strengths. If bravery is one of your top strengths, you are a courageous person who does not shrink from the threat, change, difficulty, or pain. You speak up for what's right, even if there's opposition. How many times do we face that in our organizations? We go to share an idea and people are like, oh, no, it's not been done that way before. Or, well, that will cost too much, or we don't have the time for that, or I don't think that's the right way. When we share an idea, we're often faced with opposition. And again, sometimes what that does is has us scurry back to our comfort zone. If we're going to be brave, we have to keep going. So there are 3 types of bravery: physical bravery, psychological bravery, and moral bravery. And in most of our organizations, it's less about physical bravery and it's more about psychological and moral bravery. When we step into a new position, step outside our comfort zone, share information, we're often faced with those inner doubts, that hesitation, that resistance that we feel inside of us that's like, oh, I don't think I can do this. I don't think that I'm smart enough. I don't think that I'm educated enough. I'm not the right person. And that imposter syndrome comes out. And so if we're going to be brave and move forward, we have to get control of that in our head. And then again, as we've talked about, it's that speaking up when it's an unfavorable opinion, when other people might disagree. So if bravery is your top strength or one of your top strengths, you might have the motto of face your fears, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's what people who are brave do. All right. So again, unpacking the virtues of courage. First one is bravery. Second one is what's called perseverance or grit. Sometimes we talk about it. Perseverance means that you work hard and finish what you start. And it's really about persevering long term. Any of us can dig deep for short. I can resist those chocolates in the cupboard for like 5 minutes maybe, but to resist them day after day, long term, to stick with a project that takes 6 months or a year to do, that's perseverance. And what happens for many of us is we have this idea and then we get distracted. And part of that distraction, might be, there's something else, email gets in the way. We just, don't stick with it. Maybe it's that you were going to go back to school and you took 1 or 2 courses, but man, like there's stuff going on in my family and there's this project that we're working on at work and I just don't have time to get back there. Perseverance, and perseverance is one of my top ones. It took me 8 years to finish my degree. 8 years. And so that's perseverance. It's about deciding you're going to do something, a long-term goal, and sticking with it long-term. regardless of the challenges that you have, regardless of the resistance you face. It's about picking your goals, setting goals, and moving forward. So that's one of the things that you can do. If you want to develop the character trait of persistence or perseverance, what you can do is set more goals. And little goals, like everyday set goals. I have a scribbler on my desk, and I write the top 3 things I need to do. Every week, I write a list of all the things I need to do for the week. But each day, I write the 3 things I need to do. And so I have these goals in my head. I'm clear about what I need to do and where I need to go. So first, dropping papers. First character trait of courage is bravery. Second one is perseverance. And then now we're looking at the third one, which is honesty. Honesty isn't necessarily what we think it is in terms of, I just need to be an honest person. It's honesty about you as a person. It's honesty about who you actually are. In my email to my audience this morning, if you opened it and read it, I talked about being able to be your authentic self. And when I was in leadership positions, I didn't always feel I could be myself. I didn't share my emotions because emotions weren't professional. I tried not to talk about my family as much, especially around senior management, because I knew that talking about my family, and although like my family is my number one thing in my life, I felt it was going to affect my career. And so I kind of kept it toned down. I certainly watched what I wore. I thought there was a proper suit or a proper attire for business. And so I didn't wear many pink colors, and I certainly wouldn't have worn, homemade jewelry or, essential oils or things like that, because that didn't fit into that world. But I wasn't being my authentic self then. And so this character trait is all about being your authentic self. If honesty is your top strength, you're a straightforward person, not only by speaking the truth, but by living your life in a genuine and authentic way. Down to earth, without pretense, you're a real person. So I got to move paper that I dropped. If you're not being real, then people get this sense that you're sort of putting on a mask or a facade, or you walk into the office with this certain persona, and you feel it too, because at the end of the day, it's like you want to peel that off of you and just be you. And it's more than just kind of getting into your yoga pants or your pajama pants at the end of the day. It's literally you feel like a whole different person at the office than you do at home. And so if you're going to cultivate this trait of honesty, it's about figuring out, and this takes some work, but it's about figuring out who am I and how do I bring that me-ness to work? How do I let myself show through and honestly be who I am? So that's the honesty one. Courage, virtues of courage. First one is bravery. Second one is persevere. The third one is honesty. And then zest. Now, zest is one of my favorite, or it's also called enthusiasm. And partly it's one of my favorites because it is one of my top strengths, but also because this strength has the strongest ties to overall life satisfaction and life engagement. And it's infectious. When you come in with enthusiasm and a little bit of bouncy energy, which is generally me when I come into places, you bring that energy and it kind of flows and filters around the space. And again, it has the biggest impact on your satisfaction with life. Here's the other interesting thing about zest or enthusiasm. Of the 24 character strengths, there are 7 that are game changers, meaning if you can strengthen these 7 character traits, you will find yourself more successful, happier, and achieve more. And zest is on that top 7. So zest is like the baseline character trait. If you do nothing else, try and work on your enthusiasm. And here's what it is. It's you approach all experiences with excitement and energy. You never do anything halfway or half-hearted. For you, life is an adventure. And it's interesting because the motto for zest is when in doubt, take action. Now, it comes down to things like, did you get a good night's sleep? Are you eating healthy? Are you filled up, spiritually and emotionally? Have you gone for a walk today? Those are things that help you boost your energy. And if you think about many people in your office, what's the first thing we say when we talk to them? How you doing? oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm drained. When you look around you, the world is full of people who have zero energy, are running on caffeine and chocolate and Coke, and lack of sleep, and they are anything but enthusiastic and engaged in their work. But imagine a workplace where both the leader and all of the people around you are enthusiastic and engaged, where you come to work like, hey, what are we doing today? Let's get at it. I love my job. That's enthusiasm. And when you can build that in you and teach the people around you to build that in you, it completely changes the dynamic of your workplace. And there's a ton of things that come into that. It's energy, it's humor, it's excitement, it's passion, it's perseverance, but it's the courage to bring that energy in that's going to make the difference in your workplace. So I think about some of the things I do. Like one of the things it says to do for boosting your zest is to do physical rigorous activity. There are lots of times when I feel drained in the middle of my day and I head out the door for a walk, or I put on an upbeat song and I dance with my dog, or I put on a song and I do 3 minutes of up and down the stairs. And then I go sit back at work. Like it's only 3-5 minutes, but it's that physical energy that actually boosts energy. So think about that if you're considering how to boost your energy. And how to lead with more enthusiasm. If you've sat at your desk and you've looked at your computer for 8 hours straight, there is no way, my dear, that you are going to be full of energy and enthusiasm. It just isn't going to happen. But if you get your butt up and out the door and walk around your office, go outside for a walk, go down the street, go around the block, do something physical, do some jumping jacks or squats or whatever you need to do. If you can do that, you're going to impact that zest, that enthusiasm, and that's going to filter around the whole office. So that's unpacking courage. Courage is overcoming your fears. Energy, that zest, helps us overcome our fears. Having that willpower to persevere when things are difficult helps us overcome our fears. Being able to be honest and authentically ourselves helps us overcome our fears. And that bravery, just, being courageous and knowing that you will get through it. All of those things help us be a courageous leader. And when you can lead with courage, your team is going to respect you more. They're going to get behind you more. And they're also going to step outside their comfort zones and be more courageous to try new things. So that's unpacking the virtue of courage. Now, of course, if you go up to the guide sheets, all the notes up there, there is a guide sheet on the virtue of courage. It gives you the link to the VIA Signature Strengths. If you haven't done that yet, make sure you go grab the guide sheet. So there's the virtue of courage, and it's going to give you some links so you can go over and look at all of this information and some places where you can do that. Last week we did unpacking unpacking the virtues of wisdom. Next week, we are not having one of these sessions because I am doing 6 interviews with ladies. There will be lots of lives happening in the Confident Women Leaders group. Again, if you are not part of the Confident Women Leaders group, click the link up in the notes so you get into that group and you get into all of the discussions. But these 6 ladies, we have Anne is of Monday at 8:30. Anne is the editor for Hillborn, and she has her own consulting business. And so we're going to talk to her about how she sees characters show up in organizations in terms of their leaders, and how she thinks as well that perhaps we can cultivate our character. On Tuesday, we are talking to Leanne. Leanne Picote, again, runs her own business. She's a coach, a trainer, and she has some online programs. And again, we're going to talk about how does character show up in organizations? How do you cultivate it and grow it? On Wednesday, we're talking to Pam. Pam is a leader of an organization, and I think it's important to have that conversation as well, because we're going to talk about the theory. That's what we've been talking about. But the reality is you ladies are in this kind of crazy mess every day. And so it's great in theory, but how do you apply it? Pam is a leader who leads with strength, and she's going to talk about how she's applied some of these ideas and how she's strengthened her character. On Thursday, we have 2 interviews. In the morning, we have Paula McLean. Paula is a longtime consultant who has, again, online program speaker. She's written 6, 8 bestsellers around leading in nonprofits. So she's going to talk again about what is character, how do you develop character, and here's the thing for all of these ladies. Character is kind of a new conversation for many of them, and so I'm going to help them walk through that as well. In the afternoon on Thursday, we have Janice Cunning, who is a fellow coach, and she does a podcast around fundraising leaders. That didn't come out right, but anyhow. And so again, she does training to help leaders and organizations lead effectively. So we're going to have that conversation with her. And then on Friday, we have Kim, who is actually from and I'll get it wrong, Kim, Ivy University, but one of the subsidiaries of that, and she is studied character and development of character and has a particular interest in women leaders. So you are for sure going to want to catch that one. Watch them all. The times are if you go up to the link for cultivating character, all the times are in there. If you're in the Confident Women Leaders group, they'll be there. You can watch the replay. Really want those conversations to be engaging. Comment on them, ask questions, make your own ideas flow into the conversation. This is not about me and these ladies having a conversation. This is about me and these ladies inspiring you and evoking something in you that helps you start to think about how can you lead with your strength of character. So make sure you pop up into the link and join that. It's when you start to do this work, my dear, when you start to really look at who are you, how do you show up, what are your strengths, how do you want to lead, what's the type of leader you want to be, that you're going to move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and life. Go make the rest of your day awesome, my dear.